Good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Rao Kulusu, renewing my series on wellness space. This is pillar number three, sleep, day one. All this week, this is the pillar of wellness we're going to talk about. As you know, we did pillar number one, food, the first week, 5 days, and then pillar number two, activity, exercise, 5 days last week, and now we're going to the pillar number three, sleep. Okay. I hope people are uh, aware of this program and going to run altogether 4 weeks. One is hi Nandani, how are you? So
Good morning, doctor. How are you? I'm fine. Yeah, it's good morning from my side.
yeah, good evening. Yeah. So this is the three pillar sleep, and next week we're going to do meditation. So I was always saying that these four pillars of wellness they come from ancient wisdom too. Ahara vihara, those kind of four pillars that they embodied and they elevated them to a great length. I'm now open simulcast on the Wisdom app, Instagram, and also Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and uh, YouTube. Okay, so you can dial in anywhere, but you can converse with me on Clubhouse, Instagram Live, and Wisdom app. So even if a few people come, we're going to continue because this is going to be recorded, and then people can access to that too later on. But I would like to have interaction as much as possible so that we can support it. I have Nandana here. I'm very happy to see her. She has contributed a lot. So I get excited when I see people like that who are interested, who are knowledgeable, who are willing to come up and speak about things. Um, Before I go to the thing, I will see what Nandana has in mind, what kind of questions she would like me to answer, anything like that. Otherwise, I will go into the subject and talk a few minutes before everybody else. I just want to keep that available. People join a little late, maybe they are occupied with their jobs or whatever, but that's okay. Let's talk to Nandana. Hi, Nandana. Uh,
Doctor, I see that today's topic is on sleep. So
yeah.
I'm curious about this thing. Um, I have seen many cases wherein the elders face a slight difficulty in
Yeah.
getting the right sleep. But
Yeah.
then nowadays, I also observe that even children are not able to
Yeah.
get sleep properly. So for a child to not be able to sleep deeply, what do you think?
Yeah, because the external invasion, before they didn't have to think that much. They get all the energy in the body, get out because they were running, climbing, and doing a lot of stuff. And now with this kind of video or devices or on the TV, on the video or on the phone, that is kind of making them focus on what is in their head rather than just going about and abandoning and playing too. There are so many problems too, child violence and child abuse and all those things are there too. So people are afraid to leave them alone, like we used to have carefree attitude. That's the robbing of the childhood innocence in a way. And also, people don't have the uh, idea how much these information is making them race in their mind. So they cannot, they don't have a process of before it is to be a prayer, prepare the singing lullabies to you. All those things were there. Then the cultures have changed routines in America also, where people have to go certain time for the bed. But now they're taking the food and hiding under the blankets and then keeping awake. All those invasion of the cultures with all these problems has resulted in this kind of excessive brain activity, which they don't need. That's why there are problems. Too much information, too little doing and being. That's what is going on, Nandana. You know, does it make sense?
Yeah, yes, it does. But then yesterday in the room, we spoke about conserving energy and using that
Yeah,
energy in a very concise and very
yes,
positive manner,
yeah,
so that we can be active throughout the day. So I was just wondering, do we have something that we can use for the children too, so that they
yeah,
use that energy a little more cautiously? Because
yes,
nowadays, if we tell a child to sit and then do a meditation sort of thing, then they might not be able to, because there's too much of energy in them. See that happening daily, they won't be able to do it. But other than
yeah,
that, I mean, if there's any other step we can help them
yeah.
with,
So
then I think.
basically, yeah, is basically, Nandana, it used to be they could get into the mode of play. That means without care, without concern, they could express themselves, they could jump up and down, they could do all those things, you know. There was no regimentation, spontaneous expression was there, and that kind of resulted in fun for them, you know. It's kind of lacking because they are given too much information too soon, you know. It's not just information cramming that is good for them. It is really allowing them to perceive and think about it, you know. Actually, Ayurveda talks about this great deal, you know, because they talk about how energy accumulates as tamas, but then exercise kind of lets it out. But you need certain thumbs to rest and go to sleep too, you know. So body clock will run if you allow it, and at the end of it, it will down, and naturally you build up some tamas necessary for sleep. And so, how do you wind? How do you make them come down? There are certain practical things you do: a warm bath, a glass of milk, slow music, or reading something very, very easy on them, not the horror stories, not the exciting stories, but something that really puts their nervous energy down. You know, it used to be when our people talked about Amar Chitra Kada and all those things, they had an inherent elevated thought in them. Elevated thought at the end of the day and right after you get up is very, very important. You know, and the energies will go that way rather than the downward. See, down chakras are basic animalistic, right? As you go to the heart and then go to the other chakras on the top, you are becoming more human being. And that kind of training was there inherently in the Amar Chitrakadas, other Puranas and all that. You know, I'm not saying they should not pay attention to the science and technology and math. They should, but that should be certain time where they can and get into this play mode. So if you can get them into play mode where they take it easy, relax, enjoy that activity. It could be playing an instrument, it could be playing a game, or it's telling jokes or singing something very nice. All those things will display playful attitude. See, that is the of the modern times is in the name of giving them lot of information they may not need it. They are robbing that innocence of the childhood and the playfulness of childhood. That's what I feel. What do you think?
Very true, Doctor. Especially so much true in this situation wherein they
Yeah,
are just locked up within the homes. Okay, and then
yeah,
everything is right now happening
yeah,
using the gadgets. Right
yeah,
from class everything. So I think that's made them quite easy. Wherein they've just forgotten how it is to actually be out. Yeah.
yeah. There are some yoga games in another I teach, and they take all these factors into consideration of how to make people act according to the age where they're very young there and where they're really youthful and productive and really in flow state and attentive state, and when they are very old they know how to handle the problems of the aging and also really uh, sleep in comfort and sleep with more like this elevated thoughts I'm talking about. For example, I always tell people, don't use the devices 1 hour before you sleep. You know, because a lot of people the, don't have the handle on calming their mind down. So that this phone and streaming services very fast. They make you do is they activate your mind further. A rapid movement of the pictures, movies, and all that. But if you use the same to listen to somebody's pravachana, somebody's talk that really make you think, that really make you um, have the knots in the mind unroll, so that you will feel like something very, very um, uh, complex thing in your mind has opened up. You have insight, then actually you have a better sleep. So you use the devices that way too. So that's something they could use. But then when the entertainment is everything is coming information that becomes overwhelming, or there is stimulation. But when you really listen to this kind of elevated thought, your sensory sensation goes down, but you have relaxation in your mind. Most of the people listen to this wisdom talk from the ancients, like information gathering. That is not to do that. But when you intuitively perceive the insight, dive into what is being told, then your mind will be very relaxed. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't we have Shamim join this? Maybe we also interested in contributing to this.
Okay, sure. Let's invite her up. So, hello, Shamin.
Hi, Dr. Rao.
How are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Well, well, this sleeping retreat. I have anything to contribute on this because I am very bad in that I go to bed with two cell phones and an iPad, so I'm distracted most of the night.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So I don't think I'm a good.
Yeah, I'm giving clue here how to
I don't
make.
think I'm a good person.
Yeah, I'm giving a clue here how to make them an accessory for a good sleep by allowing your mind turn from an elevated thought into an elevated thought from whatever clutter, whatever only information. That is not good. Making it clear because it's a very, very important point. So,
Doctor, I just have a question here. I mean, we see so much on the media with respect to subliminal messages or the music.
yeah,
We get to hear that they help us to actually receive the messages subconsciously and help
yes.
us to get those inherit, or rather than inculcate those traits that we are looking to
Yeah.
get into us. So I just want to ask you how safe they are actually, and can we really play that music and then go to sleep if we really want to?
Yeah, this is called subconscious invasion, or in golden term, samskara creation or samskara activation. So what happens is you are listening to certain thing every day, and then your mind takes in the information, and then if it is done deliberately every day, you will form a neural pathway will be triggered by it next time much more easily. That is basically samskaras, the creation, right? So you may have, don't want to do active the moment something, some cue, visual or hearing or any sensory cue comes up, that pathway is activated. It comes out of you without your effort. You know, subliminal music messages are there, people use them, and that's why you want to go something like a live music, or something like a that was done at home in studios where they cannot do all these things. kind of thing will be okay. You can just filter the music, and I have a preference to baroque music, or jazz, or Indian classical, uh, or any of the classical music from the countries would be okay. And but then they have done experiments with Indian classical music and jazz music, and also baroque European 16th century music. Those are shown to increase the uh, uh, absorptive capacity of mind, and also retention of the material, and long memory too. That is all. And also reproduction of whatever concepts are there much more longer time than other people are. So that is there. It's because some of these messages, I think recent report was, some kid was told several times, you have to commit suicide, and people, as he was doing it, they were encouraging him online while he was doing it. So I was horrified when I saw that report. So we are trying to really help to overcome that suicidal tendency, and these people are actively doing. So there is that nefarious activity with subliminal music. They want to control you. They want to do that. Advertising does it in a way that is also subliminal too, because they do the same ad so many times. This is a problem with obese people. See the food on the TV, and even though they don't want to eat, they just get this mental activity activated, go and get the ice cream and sit down on the sofa and eat it. So that's why we have to tell them, just do your own video or something that you bought. It used to be people can get the DVD and all this. And now you do Netflix or some other where you don't have to have that kind of barrage of advertisement. You know, but the kids, Nandana, what I would do is I would at least make them do their own instrument, or their own recording, or something cultivated from home and all that. So let's see. Sumitra wants something. Hi, Sita. How are you?
Thank you, Dr. Rao, for just share a few thoughts of mine.
Yeah, sure.
I'm actually a sound therapist. I work with the singing bowls and gongs.
Yeah,
You may be aware of them as
yeah.
ancient instruments.
Sure.
Just in the context of
Yeah.
sound therapy,
Mm,
has got a fringe sleep very well because the brain goes into a very deep state of relaxation.
yeah, sure.
So, how I have done these kind of things is that made a music. So, I have made you kind of a recording for about 15 minutes
Mm,
with the singing bowls.
yeah.
So, when someone listens to it before going to bed, as you said, we are all in the very active stage looking at devices and things
Yeah.
like that. But this kind of winds down, and then
Definitely.
they drift into a sleep.
Yeah.
So these kind of music also
Yeah.
helps the, especially the singing bowls. That's what I just want to share.
Definitely. The Jalatarang, other string elements, and all those have the same principle. But she's talking about bowls. People buy them, and then they learn to produce that music and meditate. One of my friends also does it. And also, there are instruments made, devices made, like an app like thing, but you have this kind of sound. What Sujit was talking about is ancient Buddhist bowls and all that. That is there, very well known. I'm glad she brought that up. That could be a very simple solution, but same time, the person who is this also should be meditative, you know, and they go in that, and that kind of transmission into the playing, and just even if you are not, if you just do the routine, that is very sound. And you know what? our mantras were also structured on a scale that is very, very invigorative to us. So when you do the mantra, number one is correct, narration is very, very important. Correct tone is also important. And if you do it in the prescribed, you know how much is 437, or what was the megahertz Sanskrit poems have? Maybe you know about them. Their scale, I'm not recollecting the number.
432 hertz,
Four,
doctor.
yeah, four, I remember 4-3, but I don't remember the last one. 432. See, that has a very healing. I'm sure she will explain more in detail, but that has definitely healing powers. For example, I do this warm breathing broken into three letters: A, U, Ma, right? And when you do them a sufficient number of times, you feel the resonance with A in the tummy. There's a visceral nervous plexus, and with thoracic plexus, the U, and with sacral plexus, the Ma. So the worm has this component, and 432. That's why it's such a healing energy when you Om, not by yourself silently, but if you do it at a certain level of speech, it has got. For example, when I'm doing the treadmill in the morning, I also, because we cannot get out in the ice, got a treadmill in the basement. After the yoga session and all that, sometimes I go there and do that for half an hour. I do this at least 12 times. It doesn't take that much time. What does is it kind of calms you down and the rhythm, but also those healing energies flow through you. Right, Sumiti?
Definitely, doctor.
Yeah.
The chanting of Om, especially as said, the AUM, really calms you down. But I'm very, very impressed that you are utilizing the time treadmill
Oh,
whole activity like this.
I am full of surprises, Sumiti, as you go along. I'm surprised myself with the ancient joking, but that's true. Because I kind of want to use whatever we are doing, we may not get the time, right? I don't want my mind to go all the way, out and wander around, because I don't do that. I want people to pay attention to whatever they are doing, and that kind of attention really helps us to get into flow states quite a bit. So I do that. So I think somebody wants to come up too. Maybe he wants to say something. Hey, how are you?
Good.
Okay. So you have a comment or a question about sleep?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
I want to fuck all these girls on this app.
Can you please go down and leave the room?
Yeah, I'm going to remove this guy. I don't know. He has to be removed from there. Anyway, leave him alone. He won't be brought up. They're stupid people. So anyway, something happens. I'm sorry about that. How to hear that. He should be ashamed of himself. Anyway, so that walking and doing that Om really makes me not be tired or have the cramps or anything like that. So and that's why I get encouraged and then do more time. That otherwise I would be tired and get out there, right? And also this deep breathing in and breathing out really makes it really, really, really help, to do that too. Anyway, uh, what else we can talk about? Any other
I have a
questions?
question on that.
Yeah.
What normally happens is if I try, when I start chanting, especially
Yeah.
my eyes, I want to close them. How do you manage to keep them open when you're working on the treadmill? Because you cannot afford to close your eyes when you
chant on the treadmill.
Mm. Well, you kind of uh, you really have to allow yourself to be. I'm trying to remove this guy from room, and I'm not. Don't want him to be here. I don't know. Okay.
I do think it's a good thing to meditate while you're on the treadmill, um, because I mean that's like a vigorous workout, and to it you need to be like calm and serene and still. That's all.
Yeah. No, more than meditation, let's call it. She's trying to be attentive. You know, so she's not actually doing the act of meditation. Actually, meditation is not an act; it's a state of being. You know, Sumiti, what it does is. Uh, there are ways to enhance the breathing a little bit, right? Um, so one teach the marathoner says, how can you extend act of exhalation compared to inhalation? That really helps them to really get the oxygen, carbon dioxide much better, and that it has a beneficial effect on the run, thereby they have more oxygenation, and then the cramping won't happen that much. You see, that's the good about the pranayama is when you do something like that, it is a, very very aero exercise. That way we define that. I don't lose my awareness in the morning. Also, when I get up, I'm fully aware. And this is a kind of cultivation of Shamin. She is having two iPads and iPhones, whatever she said, and you sleep with the thought, and you get up in the thought, you will be activated. On the other hand, if you can really be in awareness, and in the morning, if you are awareness, don't the devices in front of you forever. Don't wake them up. Then you can continue through the day in aware using thought. That's the main uh, message of my yoga practice. How can you be in awareness versus continued activated thought? Girija, you want to say something?
Yes, yes. Good morning, everyone.
Mm.
Give a little idea of what I do because that has helped me, Doctor. It's about
Sure.
breathing itself,
Yeah, please.
about sleep.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. So, I've been practicing this for the last, say, 15, 20 days, and it's really helped me.
Mm.
And how do I do it? Is I take in a deep breath from the left, closing the right, of course, and then slowly, after a second, I draw the right side. I do it about 4 to 5 times. Believe me, doctor, and it has really helped me. Otherwise, it used to take me so long to get to sleep. I mean, I would sleep, but not so long that want to get out of bed. But this has helped me, and I've been practicing, like I said, 15 to 20 days. Uh, breathe in through the left, slowly through the right. Again, 4 to 5 times I do it, and within a few minutes, I must really help me. Thank you. Yeah, that's also slow breathing. There is a connection of the left and right too. So those kind of things also associated with obesity too. Obesity people, when they breathe to the left, they lose more of the weight. That there's so much explanation about that in the yogic books too. This is anuloma vilom that we do, Girija. Uh, the prolonged breathing, yes, what it does is normally both nostrils function, one nostril dominant for about 45 minutes to 90 minutes. You can even check it out now. If you place one finger on one side and breathe through one, and then the other one closed and breathe out to the other, you will see one nostril is dominant for some time, and then physiological thing. It's nothing extraordinary, anything like it is just a physiological dominance that happens. So when you open both of them, one thing is that slow breath self relaxes your thought. That's one thing. Other thing is this dominance will be equalized a little bit. So you'll have better breathing pattern too. Actually, this is I think number 5 or so in my breathing practice in the morning. Every day I do that.
But do them, there's another name for this. It's called Nadi Shodhana. That means it relaxes the nadis. Yeah, that's why anything that is relaxing your thought slows it down. This does it. In the morning, cycle is first. You have to use the right hand, right? Both your index finger and the middle finger are in the base of the thumb. Then the thumb and close the nostril at the junction of the bone and cortex. So rightly placed. Don't push the. And then left nostril is open right now, right? Deep breath. That also makes some people dizzy. That's slow breath. Then release the right as you are closing with the ring finger the left. And now the right nostril open. Then you breathe out first through that. Then breathe in again through the right nostril and close it with the thumb. Release the right ring finger and blow out through the left. That is one cycle for the Nadi Shodhana. And then you do like that in the morning, which is very, very good. But I'm glad it's working for Girija. Definitely works because slow breathe breath really slows down the breathing. And as I said, both gets not that quickly, but few times you do it, you can feel the equality. At least the flow of the blocked will increase. That's one of the ways they do that so that it will be more efficient of the breathing exercises. Yeah, this is definitely related to sleep also, Girija, because when you want to first take this task of winding down, any breathing exercise, Bastrika or Anlom Vilom or Brahmari or Shitali, Shitkari, Udgi, all these names are there. I didn't mention some of the um, really tough ones. You're doing that because after dinner you should be doing the Kapalabhati, Agnisara, and the Tribandhas and all those. You should not be. So they are very tough on the internal organs, but rest of them, deep breathing. Even if you don't do it, if you just take simple deep breath, sitting erect and all that, diaphragm's down wall coming out, and then as you deep breath, diaphragm going up, abdominal wall going in, and that act of abdominal wall going up and down will relax you quite a bit. So I always recommend people to do some kind of breathing exercise before they retire, which is very, very healthy too. And also they say in yoga science, from the Shakti, the prana, the breath, and also the thought. So if you can slow down the breath, your thoughts slow down. If you slow down the thoughts, your breath also slows down too. So a lot of science in that, but I don't want to go into that. Let us review what are the obstacles for a deep sleep. Anybody has a special issue as such? I figured out how to remove that guy from room. I removed him from the room. So sorry about that. You ladies have to hear that. So any questions on the winding down or the sleep before I proceed with anything else? Girija, you missed the first part, right? You always come late.
Oh, yes, I know. I had some tough with some issues, doctor.
That's okay.
Two more things you suggested and which I have been doing, but I've forgotten in between about keeping the phone away for
Yeah.
the last one before we get that. That I'm doing, as well as telling myself that yes, I'm going to sleep well tonight. 3 times. I tell that, and then it has helped me definitely.
I'm only joking with you that you are late.
Doctor, maybe I can
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Might not actually be related to the sleep, but then this is about the well-being of the body, and because I see Chitra here. Hi, Chitra. Good morning. This is Nandana from India, and I hope you're also from India. So, because I see that you are an Ayurvedic and also we have Dr. Rao. So I thought maybe I'll just put this question as well because I have read this somewhere, Doctor, um, that our body has to be maintained in an alkaline. Uh, uh, what do you say? Do you say it has to be alkaline nature more to be disease free? And I also met a master, if I could say that, who said that when it is in an alkaline state, it will be disease free, and I just wanted to know, I mean, how much of it really works for us, because if it is true, then I think everyone should be more eager to make sure that that is what.
Yeah. Well, that term I wouldn't use because that's such a layman's term. But what it is balancing the doshas results in that kind of bulimic state. You know, that means you are in not vikruti but in prakruti. How usually people have different combination of doshas, the vata, pitta, kapha, right? So you can figure it out what you are if you just certain questions, and then according to the score you have, you can determine whether you are a vata type where you are very active and running in mind, running in bowel, running in thyroid function, and all that. Okay, basically it's a rajasic life, but then if you are dull and really slow and everything takes some time for you to digest and to eat everything, right? So that is kind of one kind of energy. But then you usually have a two types dominant, one type low, or one type completely dominant, two type low, and then you can also mess them up with your life group. So what they do is the Ayurveda practitioners, they have this way of knowing what is your body type, what you have read in your genes and all that, and also how you are living can make those go out of order too. So they have their own way of detoxification and all that. But main thing is they ask you questions about your lifestyle, and then once you adjust them, for example, if you are running thought, if you are always thinking faster in the thought, then your is exacerbated, you're out of balance, you are actually excessive in that. And for that, the simple thing is they want you to slow down in thinking and then to do some meditation so that you can really uh, hang on to the one thought and a while. That kind of thing really helps them to balance and they prescribe some medications to help with that. I'm not familiar with those medications, but I'm sure some of the very respected Ayurveda practitioners I know who are genuine, they do use balancing quickly, but lifestyle changes, and this quiz I have that shows what kind of dosha you have and how to balance it. But you said about alkaline is a very generic, vague term, Nandana. But the concept what you are talking about is true. So our body has certain constitutional makeup, and you are born with it. Epigenetics can be changed with lifestyles. That is the modern science coming know more about it. So we are advising people to have the genetic sequencing done and know what are the major diseases they have in their gene structure, and also the epigenetics can be changed with lifestyle changes. Suppose you have genes for the diabetes mellitus, okay, but if you knowing it, you don't trigger any environmental trigger like a bad diet or inactivity, then you don't have to manifest diabetes in your life, even though you had the genes for it. Okay, that's the genetic. It's not like a other genes are much more important. But certain diseases have these genes can be we can that is going to be critical down the line, because as we make it a personalized medicine, more people will have evaluation of genetic sequence and then go accordingly. But fascinating to me is our people describe this as what called bija serira. We have the soul, which is the gross body, micro, which is the sukshma sarira, and then bija sarira is where you carry all your tendencies, all your samskaras also. That's why you reflect a lot of things, even though you don't really have done anything to have them, but they come and reflect on that based on your tendencies, on your samskaras. So Ayurveda is much deeper in that, and so they can diagnose you with that. And also, the Ayurveda Vaidya is beyond these gunas, and then he can really stay in that consciousness and then help you. Those people are very rare now, those Ayurveda Vaidyas. But just by understanding also helps a lot. I think. Is it a rounded answer or is some too much? Or Nandana, how do you feel?
No, it is perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So I mean, there is a lot in that, Nandana. Just pay attention to the diet, like we talked about. I don't know you heard my lectures where we talked about to plate or within 4 hours, and then really hot food is very nice. Everybody likes that because it has the vitality, and that vitality, all these qualities of our innate nature, and accordingly we assimilate, we digest, and then we waste everything will be way. So that's very good. So Chitra, how are you?
Hello, I am well. How are you? It's nice to
I feel
be
good.
here with you. I caught this. I want to speak a little bit to Nandana.
Yeah.
No, I'm not in India. I'm in the United States, and I am not native. I'm not an Indian or an Indian name. It was given to me by Dr. Vasant Lad, who is
Yeah, he's a great.
Ayurvedic
Yeah,
doctor.
he's a great. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about that the alkaline thing and get back to this uh, your sleep subject today. Um, so yes, it is true. If we are more alkaline than acidic, but you have to remember that it's a very small bandwidth. So if you go too far alkaline, it's not healthy either. So it's a ratio between the two. Um, and and I think what we also understand is many of the scientific that are occurring today comes from um, studying things on a very microscopic level. They don't whole body into into consideration. They don't take not the whole body. They don't take the whole lifestyle, the whole being into consideration. Which is why Ayurveda is so important because it takes everything into consideration. So so eh, so quite often when you see Western studies in nutrition, they start off with the without concept of what is health. Ayurveda defined health and studies health from a health perspective. Um, and then maybe we'll go into these. As Dr. Rao said, we look at doshas and dhatus and shrotas and agni and kinds of different processes of the body and beings of the body. But when the Western sciences start looking at it, they're looking at it from a sense of what is not health. They understand not health. What is disease? Um, so when they started seeing this alkaline issue, they were looking at the typical American diet, and the typical American diet is high in fat, high in processed foods, high in eh, meat, and all of these processed foods and all of these sugars are highly acidic to the body. They're starting off from a point of view that is already a disease state rather than saying, okay, what is the state first? hoping I'm explaining that correctly. So yeah, so because the American diet creates an acidic body,
Yeah.
then yes, we want to create the more alkaline. However, if you are eating more of an Ayurvedic diet, which is closer to what many traditional Indian diets are like, because you're also using spices and things like that to change the body. It automatically is already more alkaline because of that. And if say you are sleeping properly, that also that also creates a little more of that. Look at acidic in a body, more rajasic. It is more pitta, and that just burns up the body. It's
Yeah.
not healthy.
Chitra,
You
Chitra,
want to,
one thing I
yeah.
want to say
Does
here
that make
is,
sense?
yeah. One thing I have to say here is what time you eat is also very important in Ayurvedic diet, right? At least they want 2 hours before retire. You want to finish eating, you know, and then you will have enough time for the digestive process to happen, and the waste elimination will be accumulated, and then you will eliminate all of the waste products, you know. So people eat early dinner and go generally in America. Then some people have late night because of work or travel, whatever, or the habits of here. And then they eat early dinner and then go back again 10 o'clock. They have big snack again too. That is also pretty bad for the digestion. So that kind of irregularity, even though you don't know what you are doing, can really work on the cycles that we normally have. We call them diurnal rhythms physiologically in the modern medicine. That is very important to understand and then maintain them. You know, a lot of people don't pay attention to that. You know, even though I'm busy, I kind of respond to the hunger of my body. You know, I don't indulge in snacking quite a bit, and also allow my natural body. So kind of being really aware and then sensitive to that, and then actually practicing forever, and then leave the body alone to have its own cycle. It goes a long way to help you your health. You know, but it has become really that whenever they want, or by this they want. Uh, pleasurable activity, all those things complicated eating mechanisms, and then spoil the intelligence of the body. You know, there is a lot more you have to understand about the intelligence of body, which is completely different from the memory intelligence of the brain. This a whole lot of intelligence is the whole thing is manas. You know, so understand that, then you will listen to that intelligence because your own you will listen in terms of when it eats, when it digests, when it eliminates. If you know the cycle, if you know your natam, in the modern medicine also, what they do is they measure your body temperature and determine whether you are morning person or evening person. In some companies, they allot you evening shift or morning shift because people have three shifts these days, right? So they try to allot evening shift for the people who are night timers, but that means they function very well during the night and they are kind of go and sleep during the day. They are fine with that. But other people are morning who have the maximum energy in the morning. I'm a morning type person. I do much before 9 o'clock. That is what the armies. I'm like that too. I get so many things done for 8 9. So by the time I wake up, I am way into the day, you know, because I have the maximum energy, but it doesn't really go away. But it kind of dips in it maybe in the middle, but then by the evening it comes back again too. So be sensitive to that. But also essential for the sleep, especially that is very very important. So you continuously doing the work, but then you are very attentive to every action during the day, then you'll have less dream time, and also you sleep much better. Getting the physical done or exercise, you are doing the desk work and all that, deliberately having some physical band stretches, whatever, and then before you sleep, you kind of take some measures to make you get rid of all the nonsense you have accumulated during the day. That helps a lot to allow the body to sleep. And during the sleep's role is restore the body play functions and also the mental functions too. So it kind of restores the body and mind if you have a good deep sleep. That's why it's very important for the diabetics also, because diabetes this process go from head to toe, right? That's why good sleep is very, very important for diabetes. It's a metabolic thing, especially it affects at the cellular level. So you want to really have good for the diabetics. We actually prescribe them, just go to sleep at 10 o'clock and get up at 6 o'clock. I always tell them. And whoever done it, they kind of have a better control of the blood sugar. They see it. They come and tell me, hey, doctor, it worked. His blood sugar is going down. Mechanism is that, unwinding, remind the reactions, like Girija was saying, having some positive thoughts just before you slip into sleep is a very good thing too. Um, Collect 3 to 10 positive things happen to you during the day, and then at least recollect 3 positive things and sleep on them, and that will be wonderful too. Okay.
I wanted to add one quick thing to a tip
Yeah, very
for
quick, Chitra.
after
Yeah.
your meal. So after your dinner, you
Hmm.
know, to help you digest a little bit, especially if there's it's good for time, but especially if you don't have much time between dinner and when you need to go to sleep, take a very gentle, slow walk. That also helps starts to the digestion process.
Sure.
Helps you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that used to be the traditional India. I was told so many times after they eat, we used to for a small stroll across the street, and then not too much, like Chitra was suggesting, a few steps, even in the house, like going across the room 10 times. That was also encouraged at the time. That really helps a lot. Or you can sit on diamond pose. That's Vajrasana, we call it, where you sit on the bent knees with the heels forming a stool, and then your seat is on that, so that your spine is erect and you're sitting. I think you all know what I'm talking about. Vajrasana, they especially recommend after you eat, you sit like that for to aid the digestion. So you can try and see how that works out for you. If you are not used to it, probably you'll have a lot of pain in the ankles and the knees initially. So you got to take it easy and do it very, very deliberately. I can go on sitting on that for long time without any problem. Uh, so you can get used to it. That's my point. You can start slow though. Don't too much. Even if you look at or you just take a stroll, that's also okay too. But I know that yogis used to prescribe this Vajrasana as a solution for good digestion. That much I know. So about the sleep, for example, it's yeah, Girija.
Just one second. I mean, if we can do deep breathing with Vajrasana, how's
Oh yeah, that's always good. All that you require for the deep breathing is keep your spine straight. You can do it sitting, you can do it
Yes.
standing anywhere. But for the digestion part, what kind of posture? Because Chitra brought in this slow walking, which is really true. A lot of my family members do that. I remember that. So I also remember this Vajrasana is good for the digestion. That's why I mentioned it. So about the sleep, we're going to go more deep in the next 4 days. But anything strike anything that really strikes to you on the discussion that we had? I think we digress that way this way, but we have 4 days to discuss at length. Nandana, you have any specific question or specific observation that you learned today here?
not I'm done for today. Yeah, I just taken so much input from
Mhm.
all of you here, and that I feel really happy to be here.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Sajnin or Sumita or Girija? Yeah. See, what I plan to do is, what are the sleep? As a physician, I see people with not able to sleep or not able to stay asleep or not able to sleep after they wake up in the middle of the night, and planes insomniacs, they cannot sleep at all, and people are getting habituated to sleep medications very early in life. It used to be, if you are greater than 50 years and you are not able to sleep, we used to really give very mild sedatives. And then later on, it has become fashionable to take this. That is very, very damaging if you take it very early in life. I was horrified when I saw some of these kids are taking melatonin, so it is nothing. You should allow your system to produce melatonin by darkening the room and all that. If you interfere with the biofeedback, then you are putting something from external, the body will stop its natural melatonin. That's why it's harmful. You don't have to do that. I'm mostly like non-invasive, natural, understanding what is the natural body, and then doing that. I don't want to use medicines just like that. I want to give a chance for the uh, natural body systems to work, and also we have a responsibility to cultivate them. In the long, you are a better body, better healthy person if you allow your natural functions flourish, flower. Rather than just popping up these pills just because they're available or people are giving it to you. They may not have insight into this. Their own personal life, you take it, he should be having control of his body and mind and not medications. Then he can help you with the natural problem. But if he's taking 10 medications, diabetes, all of that, then he cannot really have understanding of this. That's how the modern medicine has become more like a pharmaceutical dependency. My argument is appropriate use of pharmaceuticals should be, you are diseased, then you should use them. If you are not diseased, don't use them just for the daily habits. So my message here is, don't take the sleeping pills that easily, unless you have some real organic problem with the sleep. Unless you are used to the sleeping already. Suppose somebody comes to me that they are taking sleeping pills for a long time, they already lost that reticular activity system and all the things that are associated with the sleep. So I would not withdraw from him. I would give him the sleep medication. But if you are young or middle aged or just getting used to this sleeping meds, I would try very hard to break that habit and restore your normal rhythm, provided you understand what are the problems that you can happen, impinge on your natural cycle, and take that away. You have to do some work to stay away from the alcohol. That's the one thing people say, no, 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 we can't do that. And stay away from the smoking, and also stay away from late night entertainment. All these so-called civilizations have become a habit and impinging our health. People don't pay attention to that, then they will suffer the consequences. So I try to educate them, and some people are all educated. They come with enthusiasm, and then they want to break any habits that they might have found when they were not knowing. And those people are, we will really encourage them to be on that insight and understand more, and then do the homework too. So uh, sleep, how much you should sleep, that's also a controversial thing. Whether you should sleep several hours together or 2 hours at a time, that's also controversial. For example, Tesla, the great scientist, he had so many inventions on energy, right? Or electricity is also because of him. And he had uh, a sleeping pattern that is really unbelievable. He sleeps only 2 hours at a time, and rest of the time he will be in a flow state and working very, very well. It's very fascinating to see him and see what he is, how he has developed all that. Uh, so that is a very interesting thing I want to get to you. Okay. Anything else anybody wants to bring up the topic? We have 4 more days to discuss. To go little elaborate on each day and then see from there. Okay. Hello, Vasu, you came up and you disappeared. Oh, there is.
Hello, Rao. Rao Garu.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
Yeah. So good morning and good evening. And I would like to add 2 points on wellness of sleeping.
Sure.
Because I'm the person who researched on ashwagandha. Not only ashwagandha, Bacopa monnieri as well as Centella asiatica and several other synthetic agents which are acting on CNS particularly. And anyway, I would like to add a few points on ashwagandha. I'm the only person in the world, I can say with proudly, who worked on using ashwagandha, how brains are going to behave. The main reason for ashwagandha's property, because it's having millions of property pharmacological actions. And before that one, I would like to introduce myself. I'm a pharmacologist. So that's the thing. Yeah, the ashwagandha, it will act on mainly. It is acting on delta waves as well as gamma waves. So delta waves are very much involved in NREM sleep pattern. So that's the reason one thing, like it is a recommendation of the person who are having some kind of sleep problem. And also it is recommended as a memory tonic. And the reason is like it is acting on delta as well as gamma. Gamma is the part of the EEG or the brain wave. It helps in recalling the memory. That is reorganization is in place in the case of the gamma waves are activated. And the next one is delta. The slow wave cycles are very much involved in memory as well as deep sleep. So whoever they're having a sleep problem, consultation with physician, and then please, I'll recommend just 100 mg to 200 mg of powder in 8 hours. After having that powder, you take milk, because few of the phytoconstants of ashwagandha, it is soluble in oil fraction as well as water fraction, because milk is such a it's oil in water emulsion. It's going to have, that's like many of the Ayurvedic preparation recommended.
Where are you, pharmacologist? Yes, where do you work?
And one more thing, sir. Sir, I'm from Warangal. I'm from Warangal, Telangana. Okay. It's 40 kilometers from here.
Wait, I'm stationed in USA. This room is done in USA.
Yes.
So wait, before you speak further, I want to see what are the studies that were done with your wave theory. Already knows what are theta, what are delta, and all that. But to claim something is being used for this kind of thing, we will be in trouble, say, if you don't show the studies. Okay? So if you have any material regarding that, that is spread with a large
Sir,
group.
it's already published.
Yeah.
It's already published.
Yeah,
I can share you that,
wait. Let me
this
talk.
one also, sir.
Let me finish first. Okay. So if you have those studies, provide them, then we can examine and say. Otherwise, we come and declare this particular ashwagandha will be very nice. This one, but I don't want any recommendations made here. We are examining only lifestyle. You are even giving milligrams. That is not appropriate here. Okay. So provide me that evidence, then we will look at it. And if it is really something that is we can do, we can recommend. This is not a room that we can suggest treatment like that. That is not appropriate. Also, we have to have studies. If somebody takes those and they have some problem, it have done harm to them. So I don't promote anything that is not really studied and we have to save data. Ancient wisdom, learning from that is different. Suggesting something special, saying that this will be good for one person, that is anecdotal evidence, and that is not really appreciated by anybody, because we want to protect the larger population of things that are recommended here and having problems from it. It may be good, it may not be good, but then we cannot make those kind of recommendations. Okay, something like a lifestyle, like Girija was suggesting, I do this breathing. that doesn't harm anybody. That's a simple thing. Or taking a few feet that way, that's also not bad. But then coming with a particular herb or medication with milligrams, where no studies, nothing to our knowledge, then we cannot. I don't want to encourage that. So I have to state it clearly. What it is, this is a social media. No treatment is really advised here. We discuss about general lifestyle things that we can improve so that our health and wellness will improve. Hopefully, I'm glad for anybody else also when they come up and suggest specific treatments like that. Okay. So it's already 9 o'clock. Anybody else has any questions? Anything that we should do? Okay. All right, we'll be continuing this topic at depth for more days. But my main aim is to look at the modern lifestyle. Is it impinging on the sleep? And what's the importance of the sleep? How can we really protect our natural impulses? And how can we do? Trying to encourage everybody to participate doesn't mean to go off the topic so much, so far away, and then get let us get into the trouble also. People don't know how things work in United States. They may be good intentional. I'm sure Vasudeva is good intention and is trying to relate his story, but it cannot be recommended like that on the floor here. Nandana, anything else, or shall we close now?
Yeah, doctor, looking forward to tomorrow's session again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anybody else? Girija, Sumiti, Shamin, anything you want to say before I close the room?
It was a very interesting discussion to listen to today. I'm looking forward to joining tomorrow, Doctor.
Okay, Sumiti. Okay, then. I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for joining me here. Sorry about that intruder who was here earlier, but we will try to avoid. I didn't even know I shouldn't have allowed him into the room to first place. Okay. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Okay.